Okay, so on this wonderful evening, past the fabulous new year, we, the Rotaract Club of University of Colombo School of Computing, alongside with the Rotaract Club of Faculty of Science, University of Colombo, would like to invite you to this insightful conversation. We could potentially be some New Year resolutions for all of you. We are the moderator for today, and I am Saniru Akaravita.
And I'm Khalidu Pansilo.
Firstly, I would like to give a formal introduction to our topic, which is finding the perfect balance between sports and education. Kalindu?
Yes, Anil. As university students engage in a multitude of work ranging from lectures to societies to clubs and whatnot, committing to a sport would definitely mean a lot of sacrifice and dedication. For that win, that performance, that pride, and most importantly, the love for a sport, we are compelled to try our best even at the loss of some academic work. However, that should not be the case, and I believe this is where we struggle the most. We should create our balance. To all of the participants on the other side, don't worry, we got you.
Yes, Kalindu. So, bringing you the best in town, we have two of the most skilled sport persons who have excelled equally in their respective academic domains. It is with great pleasure we invite you both to our Q&A session this evening, curated to enlighten our audience on the many aspects that revolves around this topic. Firstly, Mr. Sanju Vikramasinghe, who we are most privileged to meet for. He is also an alumnus of the University of Colombo and currently a fourth-year undergraduate, and also holds an ACCA diploma in accounting. He is also functioning as the student ambassador for the International University Sports Federation. While dominating the sports world for his numerous achievements, he has also captained the university karate team for the year 2021, and he is the current president of the University Dancing Circle. We would like to warmly welcome you, Mr. Sanju Vikramasinghe. Kalindu?
Yes, Anil. Next, joining us is Mr. Mevan Idurua, who's also a fourth year undergraduate at the University of Ruhuna. He's following the medicine stream and is the best known for his skilled sportsmanship in swimming, being a gold medalist. He has topped the charts 5 times at the at the Sri Lankan University Games. He has also got set glory and world fame by representing Sri Lanka at the World University Games held in 2019. He is also engaged as the International University Sports Federation Ambassador for Sri Lanka for the year 2021 and 22. We warmly welcome Mr. Mevan Indurua. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Yes, Kalindu. So before we move on to the main session, Mevan, let's have a small discussion with you. So Aya, how are the studies going on and how are the clinical stuff going on? And also, how is everything with related to swimming? So did you participate in any competitions recently?
Right. So first of all, thank you to the Rotaract clubs of both UCSC and FOS from University of Colombo for giving us this opportunity, and it's a privilege to be here and to speak in front of all of you guys. So in answering your question, right now actually I'm actually in a bit of a I would say challenging period. So I finished my fourth year theory. Like in medicine, there's a clinical aspect and there's the theory aspect. So it's like two independent things. So now I have finished the final part of the theory exams, which was like a 1 month long exam. And for 3 years, we have been waiting for inter-university, the inter-university championships. And finally, it's here. And so it was initially swimming was supposed to be held in November, and it got postponed to this Saturday. And so now I had just finished my exams. Actually, I have my last Viva tomorrow. It was supposed to be today, it got postponed tomorrow. So, and we have inter-university this Saturday. So with like very minimal training, I had to go through the art challenge of having to balance and like prioritize one over the other and find time for both in especially during this festive season. So that's an added challenge. And so yeah, I'm like just finished my fourth year exams and now having to face inter-university games with like just about 7 or 8 days of training. So that's I think where I am right now at the moment. So yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot. Yeah. So first of all, good luck for your upcoming contest and for the inter-university games as well.
Thank you.
So moving on, Sanjaya, so what are you up to these days? So how are the studies of you and how is everything related to karate? So did you participate in any competitions recently? Did you participate in inter-university competitions as well?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you very much, the organizing committee, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to share our experiences with our other fellow undergraduates. Hi, everyone. Glad to meet you here. These days, actually, I finished my final reports yesterday. So I'm kind of having a vacation for a few more days after I finish my final report and other uni stuff. I'm almost done my academics by now. Apart from that, I have some unfinished business in our university because I have created the dancing circle in our university. So have to register that and have to make the internal process to a standard level. And also a few days ago, I participated for the inter-university games, karate, representing karate. I did both kumite in the sense of fighting, kata, and kata, both kata. Kata in the sense, it's kind of a demonstration. I did both and got second places from both events. Unfortunately, we had some bad luck with respect to the kata event. However, I'm not going to mention that. I don't know what will I add on to my plate after a few days. That's pretty much about myself.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. So first of all, congratulations on your achievement, and we are really proud that you bring glory to our university. So yeah, with that being said, now it's time for the long-awaited session, isn't it, Kalindu?
Yeah, Sanil. Now it's time for the long-awaited Q&A session to begin. We have some prepared questions for our wonderful speakers. Let's move on to the first question. I think both of you can answer this question. My first question is, what is the best memory and the biggest challenge you faced in your university life regarding sports? Over to you, Aya. I think Mevan Aya can answer that question firstly.
Yeah. So I think right now I am facing the biggest challenge and in the middle of it, because so now I think just to give a bit of a brief history to all the viewers here who probably have not been in uni in 2019, unless you are now currently a fourth year. So the last time that we have had a major university sports event was in 2019. The Sri Lanka University Games, and I had the privilege of being in Ruhuna when Ruhuna hosted it after 21 years. But the thing was, after that we had COVID, and we had, I mean, several 2 to 3 years of like a blank space in between. So I think if I was to speak about a challenge beyond what is happening right now, I think during the pandemic, finding the motivation to train, even when there was no inter-university games, sometimes they slows our schedules inter-university and then it gets postponed and it doesn't happen. So I think during the pandemic, one of the biggest challenges was to find motivation and to ask yourself, why are you really doing the sport? Are you always only doing it to compete, or are you, doing it for a bigger reason? And I think I kind of found that, which I never did, because always swimming was about, competing and trying to win. But then during the pandemic, I realized more like that the sport is more than that. Doing sports is so much more than just trying to win. And also what happened was, even though there were no meets, I found a new built passion within me to, engage in the sport, even when there were no tournaments, when there was nothing going on. And I found a newfound, love for the sport. And that was a challenge at the beginning, but, it became a blessing towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah, over to Sanjay. Yeah.
Right. Actually, I pointed out certain things, not to beat around the bush and just stick to the point. This is a bit of familiar question for me because a few months back when I applied for my internship, they also asked the same question like this: what is your biggest challenge and the best memory in your university life with respect to sports? I think I will first tell what is my biggest challenge in my university sport. Then at the end, you will realize you will realize by yourself why I tell this as the best memory in my university life. In 2021, I was appointed as the karate captain in last year. Before appointing me, our former captains, they gave me two options. They asked, okay, Manli, you can take it in third year, or you can either take it when you step into fourth year. By thinking certain things, I decided, okay, I should take it in third year because the challenges that comes with that decision, because of the challenges, mainly challenges. One of the main challenges I had to make a team for University Karate team because after 2020 we couldn't practice. In 2020 we couldn't practice due to COVID pandemic. But then 2021, due to that, we didn't have fresh blood into our team, and also our senior members. They also they were about to stop karate because they were about to graduate themselves. So with that, I had to create the team in 2021. And the other thing is, even though I need to make a good team, you all know by 2021 we had lockdowns and other COVID-related restrictions. So due to that, we couldn't conduct on-site practice sessions. So what I did was, with my other girls captain and other vice captains, we decided to move on to online platforms, Zoom platform. But it's not an easy task because the environment is totally changed, because we were used to practice on site. We were used to hang around people and practice in on site mode. But when it comes to online, there are very limited amount of opportunities to do that kind of things. So so like that, we had some difficulties from the very beginning. What we did was, for recruit new members, we created Google form and we shared with other undergraduates. Then it's not enough to sharing a Google form and recruiting new members. We had to find out a solution to conduct practice sessions to get the maximum benefit out of it to our new members. So what we did was, we started conduct practices and we started to teach them through online platforms. But by conducting a few days, we realized that there are certain things that there are due to connection issues. Some undergraduates can't join and stay for a long time, and they can't turn on their videos. So without turning on their videos, we can't make their mistakes correct. So what we did was, we created a Google Drive link, and we uploaded certain techniques to that, and we shared them with those actually vulnerable parties to not to give up on them. however, we ask them to, okay, Malliangi, you have this opportunity. Now you can you can watch these videos, tutorials, then you can practice and you can send videos to us. Then we will make them correct, make mistakes correct, and we'll tell you things. So how we did was that we took screenshots their videos and we marked on screenshot their mistakes and we sent them back. That's how we try to manage both the parties, those who are joining with us, and also that other thing is to keep the continuous engagement through through the year on online platforms. For that, we created some ice-breaking sessions, and this is a place where people can just come and just do practices and just leave, not to make this like another lecture. So we created certain games, and likewise we conducted at the end we have conducted 137 online practice sessions, and we prepared them for once by end of the year 2021 the situation went normal, so we prepared them for national tournaments. However, they competed for them as well, and they brought glory to the University of Colombo as well. Even though I tell this in a brief way, this was a very much challenging task for us. We had to give so much effort, commitment to that. Not only that, at the end, we could make a beautiful memory, beautiful family in the team, even though we conducted these practice sessions online. So that's why I'm telling this. This is my best challenge and best memory as well.
Okay, thank you. Biggest challenges are the best memories, isn't it, Sanil?
Indeed, Kalinda, indeed. So yeah, let's move on with the second question. So again, this question is for Sanjoy, and this is quite an easy one, but yeah, let's go with it. So basically, how do you manage time for sports while continuing with the studies?
Okay, you all know being an undergraduate, it's not an easy task. You all have so many things. Academics, when it comes to academics, presentations, viva, then thesis, research, exams, so many things on your plate. But what I believe is at the end, that's when it comes to academics, all the undergraduates have to go through that. It's some normal thing for undergraduates. But if someone asks at the end, let's say if someone asks from me at the end, once I graduated from the university, Sanju, have you focused only on studies during your undergraduate period? But if I said, mama karla tinne studies vitarai, then what will happen? But I think that's not a good answer to give to outside, because as an undergraduate, this is a good opportunity for us to get the maximum benefits from our university, because we have so many facilities in government universities as well. So I think we should do something else in addition to studies in our university. I'm not telling all the people should do sports. It can be additional things in the sense it can be club activities or other thing as well. Because some people can't do sports, because some people don't have the ability to do sports now. So they should find their passion and they should stick with that particular thing, not only for the academics. And what I have noticed recently, especially from freshers, first year undergraduates, they are telling that I have so many academics things. I don't have time to find to do sports. So many things like that. But the first year is we can do so many things in our first year. When we step into third year, fourth year, we have so many things, academics things and other things to deal with. But if you are telling that you have that you can't balance things even in the first year. I think that's because of you don't know how to prioritize things. You don't know how to give commitment for those things. That's the biggest thing. That's the main thing, I think. Prioritizing in the sense our main priority should be the academic, because we came to university to get the degree in the first class and finish our studies. That's the main priority. That's true. But apart from that, we should find something. We should find balance in our life in addition to academics. So just think about, let's say, just think, audience, if you recall, how many time do you waste per day for social media? Let's say if you have a partner, then obviously do chat with her or call over the phone. How many times do you spend for those kind of things? How often do you engage with friends, hang around with your friends, go parties or traveling? How many times you spend your time for those kind of things? I think I'm not telling undergraduates should not do those things. Obviously, they should do those things because it's a part of our life. It's a part of our healthy life. But when it comes to prioritizing, we should know how much time should be allocated for those things, and how much time should be allocated for our
Seems like Sanjoya got disconnected. Yeah, he's back. You are muted, Aya.
Sorry, Mali. Okay, the thing what I was talking about, many undergraduates don't like to come out from their comfort zone because they don't like to sacrifice things. Usually, when it comes to me, I like to occupy myself for different things. So to be busy with many things. With that, I have to sacrifice my free time. So that's how you have to balance your life. If not, if we need to always hanging around with friends and doing other things instead, productive things, then it won't give anything to us, to our future. So I think we should be willing to sacrifice our free time, and we should come out from our comfort zone. Then only come out from our comfort zone, and we should willing to give a hard commitment to works. Then only we can find the times and balance our university life in both academics and other extracurricular activities. Yeah, Malu.
Thank you so much, Sanjoya. So yeah, that's a really detailed and valuable answer. Okay, so next up, Kalindu.
Okay, next question goes to Mevan Naya. From Sri Lankan context, children often tend to give up on sports as they finish O-levels due to the heavy content delivered during A-levels. Aya, what changes in the educational system do you recommend should be taken so that children can continue sports further in their lives?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. So I think that's where most of the problems start. So usually what happens is until O levels, most people are able to balance their sports. Because O levels is, I mean, yeah, to a certain extent it's hectic, but it's only the last minute that most of the work is done. So most people are able to balance it. But even at that level, there are certain people who give up and forego their commitments in sports, thinking that the O-level exam is a big, like a really important exam. Yeah, it is to a certain extent important. But it's actually not as hard as they think it is. But most of the tuition masters or whoever, they always say by this time you should stop everything and start studying. And that's at the O-level stage. When you go to A-levels, even though they may or may not say it, it is pretty like apparent that you need to focus on your studies, but at the same time give time for sports too. So I think the biggest thing is the transition. and also the culture that the Sri Lankan education system also has in place, where they only give priority to studies. So one thing that could change is this. So now, one thing that I had faced was, I mean, I sacrificed a lot, including my, A levels to, swim and all of that. I missed a lot of classes and all of that. And I thought, there is a special intake system that is handled by that is overlooked by the UGC. And I thought, that they'll straight away give, point two of your Z score to those who have, placed at whatever national or whatever level, school level. But that was not the case actually. It was actually, even if you miss the degree, you will be able to, fast track yourself to another, either the degree that you have missed or the course that you have missed. You are able to get to that level with an additional point two. But the problem with that is you don't get to choose which university you get to go to. You're mostly given the university to you, and the problem is they give you universities far away, especially in medicine. And those unis have very little facilities for sports, and it's basically like saying, okay, you did sports, we are going to give you a chance to get to uni, but once you go to uni, you're not going to have any chances to do sports. And that's exactly what happened. So like I thought, I mean, I'm glad I'm at Rohana, but I had a, idea maybe I could get to Colombo or Japura with the point two. But the problem was I was already selected at least at that level, and I was not eligible for that. So that could be the case for so many people. Whereas still, even in this special intake system, the UGC and the Education Ministry, they always give priority only to studies, and very little opportunity for national level or international level elite athletes to really improve. And also, I think when it comes to A levels is a very important exam. Compared to O levels, A levels is definitely important because it's the exam that determines where you're going to go in life. Whereas O levels is just an exam where you just need to pass. Or A levels is not the case. So I understand that the system there is very different. You need to focus on your studies, and I believe regardless, I know sports is important, but when it comes to A levels is the most important. And I think I made that mistake, and I had to learn doing it the second time. And I realized that studies is the most important thing. But in the middle of all that, you finding time to balance your studies with your sports is like the most important thing. And I think I'm glad that I had, my parents, especially my mother, she supported me a lot. She took me for classes and all of that. She used to take me for practice in the morning at 4:50, 4:45 in the morning. I had to get into the pool and then go back to school and then classes after that. So the support system is very important. And I think the problem is, people tend to just forget about everything and just focus on studies. The main problem here is the tuition classes. The tuition classes are super long, and the schools don't really do the job that they should be doing. So people have to go for tuition, which is not the case, because in there is no other country, very few other countries in this world that have tuition classes at the level that Sri Lanka does. So I think that needs to change. It's a total, change in the education system that needs to happen for a better system for sportsmen to improve. Because at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, that's your peak age, not when you're 15, 16. It's when you're 18, 19. Actually, even right now we are in our peak age. You might be 22, 23, 24. You're in your peak age, but the education system is such that you can only peak until you're like 16, 17. That's why the school level athletes, the school level sportsmen are better than university level sportsmen. I can say that in swimming for sure. And it should not be the case, because when you go to uni, you're older, you're more mature, you should be better. But it's not the case because of this. So I hope the system can change. Until then, it's going to be like this. So yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you for that valuable answer. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I can personally relate to that special intake thing where UDC comes into play. Yeah. So pretty much, not pretty much, actually 100% accurate. So moving on to the next question. So this is kind of a practical scenario. So imagine having an injury near to a national level competition, and you are required an instructor to bed rest. So how can you manage such a situation with regard to academics? So you'll obviously be missing the academics, as well as on the aspect of the sport that you are representing. So we hope both of you can answer this question. So let's first go with Mevanaya.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely a tough situation. I cannot say that I have had that before, because in swimming you are not really prone to injuries like that. You're prone to muscle related stuff. So, but if I was to put, I have actually been through like sick, like various illnesses during the meets and been asked to bed rest. So I think in that aspect I can relate. So one of the main things is you need to find an injury might be a reminder to you that you need to rest, because one of the main things, that biggest mistakes that we make, is we overwork ourselves when we try to balance sports and studies. And so we forego on rest, but resting is important. And sometimes you could take that as an opportunity to rest, to heal, to recover, and that's important. At the same time, you need to give priority to your studies. I think having a good support system, having good friends who will give you the notes, lecture notes, help you cover all your the missed lectures and all of that, will definitely be helpful. And I think if you are able to study even while you're resting, bed rest or whatever it is, after an injury, I think that's super important. When it comes to the sport, if you can't compete, then you can't compete. It's important that you need to follow the advice that you're given and rest the particular time, without trying to let's say the doctor tells you to rest 3 weeks and the tournament is in 2 weeks. Best if you forego the tournament, but then you need to, if you really want to do the tournament, rather than you making the decision, you need to ask the doctor or whoever it is. And I think that's the best situation in a very tricky situation. Very best thing to do in a tricky situation like this. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, man. So any thoughts on that, Sanjoy?
Actually, it's a tough question because my answer is going to be opposite of the, what Mevan said, because that when it comes to the doctor's point of view, that's totally okay. That's the best answer. But I had to face so many times like similar situation as to say, and in the recent inter-university games, I had a back pain in the sense it's when I went and met the doctor, he said your spine is almost damaged, so you should bed rest. And in addition to that, I had some soft tissue injuries in my legs. So but as I said in the beginning, I did both Kumite and Kata as well. In the team Kata, we have 3 members, 2 members into 3 members, including myself. So, but even though doctor said to me, okay, you should bed rest, but I couldn't do that because there are 2 other members who are waiting for me until I come to practices and start practices with me. I'm not telling you should, the audience should follow this procedure, because I did this because I did this because of I didn't have any option to follow. That's why I did this. What I did was I get painkillers, and because I can't spoil others' dreams, so I had to go for it. However, I took some painkillers and went for practices. That the day of event day, I couldn't bear the pain due to over practices with the injury. I had to go for some severe painkillers to bear the pain. That's how I did. I haven't bed rest when I have a tournament close to me. What I do is I just take some painkillers, or I go for it. But that is not the thing we should do. But how I need to do that, then because of that, I followed that method. Let's say if you have both the tournament and exam close to together on the same days, then what I suggest is you can make preparations in advance. what I do in when I had a national meet and the our last semester exam together. What I did was I knew, okay, these two come together, so I have to be prepared in advance. I made some recordings. Recording in the sense, I read my notes and I voice record them into my drive. And while I'm traveling, I was used to listen to them. So that's how I balance that time period. Not only that, when I go for practices, sometimes I go early, and until other players come, I listen to those audios, because while I'm traveling, I can't read my notes because I sometimes I got headache. So I applied that method instead of reading notes and doing that kind of things. I used to listen to my own record, my own voice. That's how I prepare myself for academics when I have both academic and national meet at the same time. Yeah, that's how I balance things at a situation like that.
Thank you so much, Sanju, for that valuable information. So, Khalid.
Okay. So next up, we have quite an important question, and this will be also directed to Sanju Ayya. What sort of an impact did sports have, and how did it benefit you mentally amidst the workload from the academics? Have you an answer to this question?
Okay. If you have done sport, I think in the audience there are people who are doing sports. If you are doing a sport, you know the stress that you have to face, that you have to go through during a tournament. It's not like it's not like an ordinary day. We have a big stress when we are getting close to our match or our tournament. Because let's say if you are just a member of the team, you have the responsibility to get a medal for your team, or for not only for yourself, for your team and for the university. So by adding those extra things to your mind and the pressure that comes from the tournament itself, it's kind of you are going through a pressure cooker. So you have to tolerate that situation. However, I think it comes with the experience. As to what extent you have gone through that kind of situation, that extent you can manage that situation. When it comes to academics, I have seen many Mallan Angela and the same fellows from my batch. What they are saying is it's like Ambu Matahari Amaru Ambu exam something like that. They don't know how to balance that. I have seen that kind of things comes mainly from the people, those who are only focusing on studies. They are not doing extracurricular things. They are not doing sports, other activities. They just focus only about studies. So that they don't have that practice how to go through that kind of situation. So according to my experience, actually I don't get stressed at all when I have academics, when it comes to academics, because I have gone through so many stress situations. Let's say when I was let's say if I'm the captain in university team, then I have to compete for the tournament. At the same time, I have to manage my other members mentally stress as well. So if I focus only for myself, then others won't get what they deserve to get. So I should maintain their stress level and my stress level as well. So being a leader, it helps really to go through that kind of situations and balance the same stress that comes from academics. I think the academic stress it's not something to compare with that competition related stress. So it's not a very big thing. The best thing is you should plan everything in advance. From my experience, I had to do my last report. However, I plan to do it. I plan to start it by end of the 10th of December, by 10th of December. But I couldn't do it because I had to prepare for inter-universities and then interfaculty dancing competition and the circle things. So what I did during those time period, I collected some fundamental information which I need to which I need to finish my report. Then I kept aside my report until 10th of December because I thought, okay, I have 20 days to complete the report. But what happened was, even though I anticipated that time, I anticipated I have this kind of time period. After I finished interfaculty dancing competition on 10th of December, I got fever. It's a kind of pattern thing. Once I fever myself too much for hard work, then as a pattern, I got fever for at least for 2 days. It's a normal thing. But after I recovered from that fever, then again I got chickenpox. Then I had to, but I did certain things while I'm in bed rest, academic things, but I couldn't give my full potential to my report. However, I had to start it by 20th of December, 10 days after. Then I decided, okay, I have only 10 days. Now I don't have much time to sleep. What I did was I slept only for 4 hours for all the 10 days. And I gave my full commitment for that. So that's how things may not fall into places as you plan. So it's better to have a backup plan as well. If not, you have to, you must be willing to give yourself at your full potential. Then only you can overcome that any challenge. So I think mainly I don't get stressed just because of this pressure situation that I have going through doing my other extracurricular things and sports. That's all, Malle.
Great. Thank you, Aya, for that valuable answer. Saneru?
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on with the next one. Mewan is here. Okay. So the next question is directed to Mewan. So as we all know, Sri Lanka is quite behind on a global level in terms of sports. So according to your point of view, what can be done to improve this so that we can see Sri Lanka as a country thriving on international charts and competitions?
Okay. There are many answers to the question, many solutions. Some of which I think I have reflected on in the previous questions with regards to university students and how they could be enabled to, improve, to, further their careers in sports. And I think some of the things that I didn't mention earlier was that one thing is we could have, which was actually proposed at the International Day of University Sport in 2020 during the panel discussion, was that possibly all the universities in Sri Lanka could have a common academic calendar where at a certain point of time in the year, everyone is free so that we can have the, interview or slug during that time period. That is one option. That is just one of the many solutions. And that's at university level. Now, I think one of the main things that I've noticed is that now I'm going to start from with like the very, the basic level, and that's, kindergarten, grade 1, primary section. We see very talented, not swimmers, I mean like sportsmen in all categories of that particular age group, and they're super talented. At that age, you can project that they'll go all the way to, Olympic medaling level or world championship, whatever, World Cup level. But the problem is the potential is there at that age. But as the time goes by, little by little, when they get to middle, grade 6, grade 8, to then O-level year and then A-level year, that potential drops drastically to the point where they give up on the sport. Or even if they do continue, it's not at the level that they used to. Now, even I could find myself as an example where some of my events, I swam the fastest that I've ever swum when I was 16. And to this date, I still find it a challenge to come to that level. Now, that should not be the case for anyone, actually. It should be, everyone should keep going up, upwards and forward, improving year by year. Whereas until the point where you're, 22, 23, in your youth age, where you're at the prime of your physical capabilities, and that should be your best year. Those should be your best years, and that does not happen in Sri Lanka. And what happens is in Sri Lanka we are having a lot of young athletes, very school level athletes. Athletes, I'm saying any sport, not just athletics, but any sport. But only a few sports like rugby, cricket, and the sports that are highly sponsored in this country, that continue to their youth stage when they're in their 20s, 30s. You only find a few of those people in those sports continuing till that age, but you don't see that in a lot of other sports. And I think that is one of the main reasons. There are very few funds, there's very few opportunities for sportsmen to engage in, very few job opportunities where, just because you're a sportsman, you get this or whatever. There's very few of that. Now the job market is such that, it's all about more than that. And in a way, it's good. You don't just get into, you don't just get a job because you did a sport. But I think it's an added qualification. Now, I'm not, the best person to speak on, you know, facing an interview and how sports helps, but it definitely helps. But the problem is now what is happening is it's sports is just a added qualification, but the main thing is studies, and that's the only thing. And very few people continue into the very few people focus on the pursue an elite athlete career till their 20s. So that's the biggest issue. And the schools are responsible, the education system is responsible, the university system is responsible, and I think we too also have a part to play in it. And maybe we can, I mean, the thing is to keep changing, keep evolving, and to have better solutions, better opportunities for players to keep improving. So to a certain extent, now with the addition of the sports degree in Sabaragamu and in Japura, and I think Peradeni has now started, Kalaniya too, we find a lot of elite athletes joining the university system, which is fantastic. And they are doing to a very good extent. They are competing at a very high level, and they are balancing their studies. So that's a good step. And if we can have more steps, more initiatives like that, I think we'll be on a good path. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that detailed, very detailed explanation, Mevanai. So yeah, Kalindu.
I think Mevannaya has an answer to that question too. Okay. Okay. And again, next question for both of you, Ayala. What motivates you to do sport in university? First, I give chance for Sanju Aya.
I'll give a simple answer to that. The main reason was because I did youth sports in my school. That was the main reason. But I did not karate. I did gymnastics in my school, and in addition to that, I did some other sports as well. But mainly, I did karate. Sorry, I did gymnastics. I did karate and up to grade 6 in my school. Then from grade 6 to grade 12, 13, I did gymnastics. Once I came to university, I looked for to continue gymnastic in university as well, but unfortunately we didn't have gymnastic in our university, not only in our university but also in our university stream. However, I needed to do a sport. But what I did was I thought what would be my passion. So I know exactly my passion. It relates with martial arts in addition to apart from the gymnastic. So so that's why I decided to do karate, and reinforcing that intention I have done in my childhood karate. So that's why I started karate in our university. That's the main reason I have done sports in my school, and I needed to do something in university as well. And one thing, let's say, I need to tell this. I shifted to another sport just because of I need to do interuniversity. I needed to play interuniversity sports. But let's say if you have mastered something another sport, let's say you can't find it in university, but if you want to master it and if you don't like to shift to another sport, then don't shift that. Don't shift from what you have mastered to another one, to a new one. You can instead you can do there are national games, national championships, so you can participate for them representing university. So your sport life, it doesn't end because of that. So you can participate for national tournaments if you don't like to uh, shift for a new sport. That's totally fine. But I needed to shift to another sport because of I needed to participate for international games. In addition to that, I believe that sports uh, build personalities, and it helps to improve your weakness. Let's say if you have some negative characteristics, negative traits with respect to your personality, then you can use. I knew then sport helps us to mitigate those things and get over from those kind of weak points. Uh, I have seen from some undergraduates, they are very they don't like to get responsibilities. They are very afraid to get responsibilities. So that's and there are some people uh, they don't have much skills to they don't have much interpersonal skills. They don't know how to deal with the person. They don't know uh, how to respond to a person. They don't know how to manage a team. So this everything helps to your improve your personality. So so with that, I needed to having those ideas, I needed to balance myself from academics and both studies. That's why I decided to start sport in university as well.
Okay, thank you, Sanju Aya. Mevan Aya, what motivates you to do a sport in university?
Yeah, I think like Sanju said, like doing a sport when you're in school, that sort of gives you, that gives you the automatic motivation to continue the sport when you're in university. And of course, if your sport is included in the university system, then it's easy. You just need to continue the same thing. But then that does not mean that it's easy. I've seen people give up, like when they come to university level, and they just do it as a side thing and not really focus on it. So it depends on how passionate you are about the sport and your memories in the sport also. Because some people, when they get not so good memories, and when the sport doesn't is no longer a very enjoyable thing, they tend to back off and like give very little prominence to to sports. And I think the main thing there is, what do you prioritize in your sport? Like, do you prioritize just, I mean, is your sport only interesting to you only if you win, or uh, would you still love the sport regardless of the outcome? And I think going through many of those trials where I had to regardless of the victory or loss, I still you're still given the choice to continue the sport. And I have many options, many instances like that where I wanted to give up and all of that. Then I kept realizing that I love the sport, because not because of the the final outcome, rather it's not just about the destination, but it's about the journey. And I think the people who enjoy the journey tend to continue that journey when they go to the university too. So I think what motivated me was, I think I wanted to motivate other people and to inspire other people using sports. And it was a platform where I could show them a bigger purpose, rather than studies is good, it's great, but sports is an added thing, in the sense that you can inspire a lot of people in sports more than, I mean, I've seen a lot of inspirational figures in sports. Studies true, but studies, it's more like the grade. You're just focused on what that person got. But in sports, the character and the leadership and all of that comes into play. And I think that's what I would like to, that's what I always like to do in sports. And it's not just the sport itself, but the things around it too matter. And that's what motivates me. And I think if that can motivate anyone else, that would be perfect. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing your memories with us, both of you, yes. And Saneru,
Yeah, thank you, Kalindu. So we are moving on to the last few questions from our agenda. So next question goes to Mevanaya again. So this is, I can relate this to something that Mevanaya told previously about her mother who helped him to like take him to classes and swimming practices, etc. So for a person engaging in sports and academics, there must be times where you had to sacrifice one for a benefit from another. So what sort of a support system did you have, and how would a person create one if he or she doesn't have one? So any ideas, any thoughts on that, Mevanaya?
Oh, sorry. I just got a call.
Yeah, sorry, I'll repeat the question.
Yeah, if you could repeat the question.
So my question is that for a person engaging in a sports and academics, so there must have been times where you had to sacrifice one for the benefit of the other. So what sort of support system did you have, and how would a person create one if he or she doesn't have one?
Right. I think regarding the commitment and sacrificing, one of the main things is the social life, where you need to sort of sacrifice. That really is affected when you're balancing both. And I think to a certain extent, you improve, you build a very balanced social life when you're engaging in sports. You get to work with a lot of people and build your team spirit, teamwork, and how to work as a leader and all of that. So that's fantastic, and that's actually a really healthy way of building up your social life. And the support system, I would say, that's very important. Even I think your family could be the best support system to you, especially when you're at school level. uh, it's very important, and at university level too. But at university level, I feel your friends and the people who you associate play a big role. If you associate people who are not interested in sports, then the probability is you will also lose interest. But it all depends on who your inner circle, your set of your clique. That really matters, because the people there, if they motivate you, if they are, if they push you towards a certain goal in sports, in the sport. Whereas people, if you're around people who are not very interested or try to pull you in an opposite direction, I've seen that happen very often, where sportsmen who are very talented associate the wrong people in the wrong environment, and eventually they lose interest in the sport. So that itself is a support system. Your friends, your lecturers, your and especially your parents and your coach too, your coaches too. That's a very important thing, because when you're having exams and all that, if you're able to talk to a coach who is considerate about all of that, that is very easy and very important. It'll make your life easier. Same thing goes to having lecturers who support you. Same thing goes to having parents who support you. Especially when you're, you know, tied up with a lot of work and your schedule is very hectic. Supporting in any way possible is extremely important. We are only here because of our support system. That's very important uh, to highlight. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aya. So that's a really meaningful answer. So yeah, next question. That this question goes to Sanju Aya. So if a person wants to do a sport who haven't done any kind of sport before during the school times even, so what is your advice to such person who's willing to start a sport brand new?
Uh, Simple answer is just do it. Don't think whether you will be success or not. Just try to do it. Uh, then only you can think whether the sport it suits with you or it's not. First of all, you should try it. First of all, you should decide a sport, and you should start practicing it. You can decide the sport. I think it's because based on your passion. Let's say if you are willing to exercise more your brain mental capacity, then you can go for a sport like Scrabble or chess or something like that. Let's say there are some people, they don't like they like to engage with high intensive workouts, running, jumping, and that kind of activities. For them, I think if you know your ability, what is your ability, you have very mental capacity, very mental related abilities, or very physical related abilities, then you should decide based on that. If you are a physical if you have ability with physical activities, like I said, then you can select the sports like rugby, uh, karate, taekwondo, then football, cricket, something like that. So what my advice is, just try to find your passion, then do then start to do it. uh, do it in your best commitment. Give your best commitment to it, and after 1 or 2 months, then you can decide, maximum 2 months, then you can decide, okay, whether this sport it really suit for you, or I should move to another one. Without and the advice is, don't second guess your decision. Some people, they are what they are doing is uh, ගත්තු ගමන් අයියෝ මේක හරිද මං ගත්තු තේරෙන්නේ හරිද කිය they are just suffering from the very beginning. They don't give their commitment to it. They don't decide based on commitment. They just second guess their the decision at the very beginning. So what I need to tell is, don't do that. Just start based on your passion, and just give your maximum commitment to the sport. Then after 1 or 2 months, you can decide whether this sport suits to you, or whether this sport suits you, or you should shift to another one. Then you can, if it doesn't fit with your abilities or your skills, then you can try another one.
Thank you so much, Aya, for that wonderful explanation. Okay, Kalindu. So yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Sanil. Okay, we come down to the last question on our list. I hope both of you can answer this question. In 5 years from now, where do you see yourself in terms of both academic and sports worlds? Mevanaya, over to you to answer firstly.
Another 5 years. That
Yeah.
could be, so yeah. I mean, early 30s, late 20s, I guess. So to be honest, I haven't really thought that far ahead in terms of sports, because I think one of the most important things is knowing when to. I think it's like this. It's one of the most important things I would actually like to share today, and that's knowing when to retire. Now, sports may not always be about competing, but does not mean that just because you stop competing that you can't pursue the sport. So I may not compete at meet anymore one day. That day is definitely going to come. But then you still see me go, in the pool, going for, swimming whenever I can. And does not mean that I'll just completely forget about the sport and not ever do it again. And so in another 5 years, I don't think I'll be pursuing it, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. But one thing is, I'll definitely pursue the sport. Only thing is, I may not compete at, the sports. There's non-competitive aspect and the competitive aspect. So I may not do the competitive tournaments, meet, and all that. But I'll definitely pursue the sport, and that's one of the biggest, message. The main message that I would like take home message I would like to share, and that's sports is always not just about competing. It's great to compete, but when you retire, you'll always realize, no matter whether you are the best player, the GOAT, or the greatest of all time, or whatever you there's always a day where you have to retire, and there's a day where you have to realize that you can still continue the sport in your leisure time as a leisure activity, and not just make it a competitive thing. And that's one of the main things. So in 5 years, maybe I may still compete, I may not, but the nature of my work line is not going to be any supportive in that sense, and I feel that I'm called to that part, and by that age in my life, I feel that would be the main thing. But if I was to say in another 2 years, I feel in the next 2 years, I feel I want to explore many areas in the sport and try to improve and get to a level that I have never been before, and compete at the highest level, and balance it with some of the most hectic days ahead in final year and all of that. uh, but even once I have graduated, I feel I might compete. And that's one thing that rarely happens, because most people, once they leave university, that's it, they're done with sports. But that should not always be the case. You can still compete once you're graduated, once you're done with your convocation, all of that. And also, you even after you're done competing, you can still pursue the sport. So that's where I see myself in the next 5 years. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mevanaya. What about you, Sanju Iyer?
To be honest, I have a bit confusing plan. So I think if I share it, it may confuse some of you. So I rather telling what I will become in 5 years time, I would like to tell always keep high intentions, because you should this is my personal belief. You should not die like an ordinary person. You should have high intention for your life, because we don't know what will happen in future. But we should have high intention, but at the same time we should not attach with them. That's what I believe. Because let's say sometimes we how much how much we gave our commitment to something, outcome might be dissatisfied. That can be happen. But if you are too much attached with the outcome, if you are too much attached, if you are too much expecting, okay, I'm giving this much of effort to this, so I should have this specific outcome, I must have this. If you are thinking like that, let's say at a point, if you get disappointed, then you are doubting yourself. Should I should I commit for something else like I used to do? Because of that disappointment, it happens mainly because of you are attaching to that outcome. So I think keep high intentions, but don't attach with them. Don't expect everything will fall into places as you expected from the very beginning. Things can go wrong at any time. And other thing is, believe on yourself, because there are some, I have met so many people, so especially from my year, from my age, they don't believe themselves. They just doubting themselves. I can do this, I can do that thing. Don't doubt yourself. Just believe about yourself. And that's all I think I can tell as the final suggestion for the audience.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so much.
Thank you, both of you, Ayala. Okay, that's it from our side. It is time for you guys in the audience to raise your hand questions for our speakers. You can either unmute, you speak freely, or use the chat option to direct your personal questions to the speakers.
Aya, what are the main tournaments and competition that someone can represent their university throughout their academic life, and how often they come?
From whom do you need the answer?
Yeah,
Nandi?
let's first go with Sanjay.
Right. According to my knowledge, we mainly in our university we have freshers. You can participate for them once you come to the first year. That's the first event that you have to participate. Then you can participate in the faculty competition, faculty. Then the ultimate aim is from university context. It's inter-university games. Inter-university games it's held once in a year. Then there is another event called Sri Lanka University Games, SLUG. It comes once in every 3 years. The difference is the Indonesia Games and the SLUG is in Indonesia Games. Each sport is hosted by different universities. Sometimes one university might host 2 or 3 sports, but when it comes to SLAG, all the sports hosted by the one particular university. That's the main difference. And you are eligible for once you got gold medals from SLAG, you are eligible for Sri Lanka University Colors, Sri Lanka University Sports Association Colors from Sri Lanka University Sport Association. The acronym is LUSA. In addition to Sri Lankan context, you can participate for World University Games. There are, as I know, there are 2 types of World University Games. I think Mevan will add something to this part. There are 2 types. One is the Combat World University Games and the normal World University Games. Combat World University Games, it covers the sports like karate, taekwondo, that kind of martial arts sports, judo, that kind of things. Other World University Game, it covers other sport except that martial art stuff. So that's the, as I know, that's the ultimate path that you can reach when it comes to the World University context. Mevan, you can add something.
Yeah, so I mean, nothing to add for the local aspect. I think Sanjay just covered everything. And even in the World University level, I think there is the World University Games, then there are World University Championships, then there's a special, the Combat World Uni, and also there's the Mind Sports World University Championships for chess, mainly chess, and I think a few others. There's also an esports thing which is coming up very much in the world level. I think esports might become a thing someday in Sri Lanka, but to a certain extent, maybe not. But in the world at FISU, the World Federation, it's a big thing. So yeah, yeah, I mean that's the highest level. But there are higher levels, and that's at the national level. South Asian Games, Asian Games, they're much harder to get selected, much harder. And representing a national, that's the real national level, and that's the, World Uni is more like a national university level, but the real national level is at South Asian Games, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, and the ultimate thing, that's the Olympics, and that's the highest level. So I think that's the whole ladder of things. So yeah.
And thank you, both of you, Ayala, for answering that question and also for raising that question. Thank you, Govindani. Are there any other questions from the audience?
Seems like that's it, Nathan.
Yeah, we are running out of time. So, Saneru.
Yeah, so since there are no other questions, we come down to the end of this wonderful session. First of all, I would like to thank our guest speakers for tonight, Sanju Wickramasinghe Ayya and Mevan Induru Ayya. Thank you so much for accepting our humble invitation and being present today amidst of your busy schedules. It means so much to us. So thank you for sharing your personal experience with us and for all the advices that you have given. I hope everyone who have attended this webinar today learned something new, something worth for their lives from your experience. Next, I would like to thank the audience who joined us this evening and raised your valuable questions. Hope you got resolved all of them. And a special thank goes to our organizing committee for organizing this wonderful session. Organizing committee represents from the University of Colombo School of Computing Rotaract Club as well as the University of Colombo Faculty of Science Rotaract Club. And finally, before we wrap things up, is there anything that both of you wanted to share or add about today's webinar? Sanju Ayya, Mevan Ayya. So anything you enjoyed, anything that we could improve on, you can share your thoughts, Ayya.
Thank you again, Mallila and the organizing committee for having us today, and it's a great pleasure to be with you all. Personally, I'm really happy to share my personal experiences with our fellow undergraduates because personally I have encountered with similar questions from our fellow undergraduates. They are always telling how to do this thing, how to do that thing, how to manage the time. So I think it's a great pleasure to deliver our experiences for our undergraduate if they have that kind of issues, doubts, and yeah, that's all. Nothing to improve, as I think you both did very good job. Thank you again.
Yeah, and yeah, like Sanju said, so yeah, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm glad to see quite a few are still with us in the meeting. Quite a few had joined even at the beginning, so that means a lot of people had questions, and I think we also had these questions when we were first year, but we actually didn't have it. I don't know. Maybe there were webinars, but I think there has not been a webinar like this, and I think you have really, found a very important area in this university life that you need to address. And hats off to both Rotaract clubs for doing this. And I hope you continue with other speakers that are fantastic sportsmen all around. And we are both glad to be part of this session. But hopefully you guys will have more sessions with speakers. And I can assure you, you guys will have a lot of motivated juniors, and they'll represent your University of Colombo or any other university very well in the future. So yeah, hats off to both Rotaract.
Okay, thank you both of you, Ayala, for sharing your thoughts. Thank you again. And I think it's time to wrap up the session. Good night and have a pleasant evening.